You may be wondering, with all of the different issues confronting the Christian church today, why should Charles Darwin and the Big Bang Theory be considered important? It's a very good question. Let me share with you why I think this should really be an important issue to Christians. You probably heard at one time or another that the Christian church is never more than a generation or two from extinction. So it's always important when Christians decide to pack up and leave, especially when the ones doing the packing up and leaving are younger Christians. And when it comes to the issue of Darwin, science, and the church, that is exactly what they're doing. No less an authority than the Barna Group, the foremost organization that's surveying attitudes of Christians, has found that 3 in 10 young adults think the Christian church is out of step on this issue. Moreover, 25% of younger Christians think that Christianity is anti-science. 23% say they're turned off by the creation versus evolution debate. To top that off, Barna reports that this issue is one of the top 3 reasons why nearly 60% of young people who grow up in the church decide to leave it after age 15. Ouch! Christians work long and hard to raise their children in the church to provide them with what they believe is a strong foundation. Then the children get a little older and leave for good. Now, some will say, nothing surprising about kids growing up and leaving the church. Don't worry, they'll be back. The problem is, this time may be different. They may be leaving for good. So the science issue is important simply because a lot of people, especially younger people, are leaving because of it. The second reason is what I call the crowding out effect. We live in a world with a lot of different priorities competing for our attention. Absolutely nothing surprising about that. To be straightforward, people have only a certain amount of time to talk about issues such as science and religion. The Christian church is exactly the same. There are many scientific issues that have ethical and religious dimensions, and the number is growing. Each of these issues needs attention. 2 very important scientific issues are stem cell research and a new gene editing technique called CRISPR-Cas9. Research into stem cells has been going on for a number of years. The techniques are increasingly sophisticated, and the potential for the technology continues to broaden. With that comes a whole host of ethical issues. The same is true for the newer technology called CRISPR-Cas9. This is a technique that permits scientists literally to edit the genetic code of an organism. One of the founders of this exciting revolutionary technology describes it as follows: "We now have the power to quickly and easily alter DNA. It could eliminate disease. It could solve world hunger. It could provide unlimited clean energy. It could really get out of hand." The first 3 of those things sound incredibly promising, but the last sounds incredibly scary. That's the problem and promise of many of these new technologies. On the one hand, they could provide huge benefits to society, things that will benefit everyone. They do things that Christians want to have happen. But at the same time, they pose many ethical and moral dilemmas. With scientific technologies that have huge ethical and moral issues tagging along, don't you think it's important for Christians to be part of the discussion? Of course. But if we're perceived as still trying to challenge Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection, as well as continue to challenge the idea that the universe is billions of years old, despite a lot of evidence to the contrary, our ability to influence these other, much bigger issues is going to be limited. Every hour Christians continue to argue about Darwin is 1 hour they might have spent on something potentially more productive. But there's another dimension to this, one that is potentially insidious. Here's the problem. Much of the non-Christian world looks at Christians who dismiss Darwin and other modern science and reaches the following conclusion: these people are just plain stupid. which leads an awful lot of people to comedian Ron White's famous line, "You can't fix stupid." The logical conclusion in the mind of the typical non-Christian: if Christians can't even get Darwin right, they obviously have nothing worthwhile to say about other scientific matters. They tune us out. The non-Christian world is going to have big and very important debates about these ethical issues. They're going to have them whether or not Christians are part of the discussion. Wouldn't it be better for Christians to be part of the discussion? I don't know about you, but I don't like people concluding that because I'm a Christian, I must be stupid. But that's increasingly what's happening. And that creates an interesting problem when it comes to evangelism. If you're a Christian, I'm sure you'll agree evangelism is important. After all, Jesus commanded his disciples to go forth and spread the good news. But if Christians are perceived as stupid, how likely are we to reach the well-educated? Are we simply writing them off? I certainly hope not. Now, I fully realize that Christians should not be basing their thinking on what the rest of the world thinks. We have a very long history of going against the grain, maintaining beliefs that are faithful to the Bible, not what popular culture dictates. I definitely get that, and I definitely agree. That's the right thing to do. I'm not suggesting that Christians change their minds about something in order to fit in, to be more in tune with popular culture. Absolutely not. No, I'm suggesting that Christians make it a priority to rethink this issue because of the problems I've cited above. Now, what should the nature of that rethink be? I think it should include two key things. First, it should be consistent with the Christian Bible. Second, it should also be consistent with conventional modern science. It needs to be both. If the solution fits conventional modern science but doesn't accord with the Bible, unacceptable. Likewise, it can appear to fit with the Christian Bible, but if it is simultaneously inconsistent with conventional modern science, the problem that intelligent design theory has, it won't work. Can this be done? Absolutely. What I propose in my book meets both tests. It is fully in accord with the Christian Bible, and it fully fits with conventional modern science. In fact, it relies upon exactly the same science that prominent atheists use. It just draws different conclusions. It will provide Christians a way to deal with the three problems I identified earlier.